Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week of Beyond Parody. I'm your host, Dan Dillon, and as usual, I'm joined by my co-host, Robin.
Hello, everybody.
By our one and only Travis.
That's me. Someday I'll be mentioned before Robin.
You got to earn it. You got to be blonder.
We have Mr. B, our tech guru.
Hello, family.
And we are joined by a special guest today, Mr. Marty O'Donnell.
Yay.
Howdy. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You are famous for being the composer of the Halo soundtracks, and also you are running for House, correct?
I am running for the House of Representatives, yes. CD3, Congressional District 3 in Clark County, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Nice.
I went insane and decided to run for Congress instead of retiring from the game industry. Actually, you know, I have good reasons for running, and we can get into that later. You missed one thing that I did that some of you kids might know about, which is we are Flintstones Kids, 10 million strong.
What?
I saw that.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw that you had your kids record that. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Both my daughters were in the group that sang that. My youngest daughter actually was too young but we did that jingle for like a 10-year period. But my oldest daughter, who is probably, I'm sure, older than all of you, is the one who sang "And Growing." So,
What year did you write that?
I wrote that in 1985.
Okay, I was born in '73, so I might be older than your daughter, and
okay.
I grew up with that jingle. So
I was born in
very
85. Much. I was a Flintstone kid.
You were? Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. I think probably all of us on here were Flintstone kids to a certain extent.
Oh, I can taste the chalky goodness in my mouth right now.
Chalky goodness. You know what was funny is my kids, we tried to give them Flintstones vitamins and they would disappear, you know, and then we would find them hidden in couch cushions because they didn't like
They later came out with like gummies.
That was a good gummies are the
but yeah, the ones from the late 80s were a little chalky, I would say.
Those are still the only vitamins I like. Like as an adult now, it's like, oh, you got to take your vitamins. Like I just want Flintstones vitamins.
Well, little known fact, the original Flintstones vitamins were a rebrand of kids' vitamins that were called Chalks.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Like, maybe a little too on the nose, right? I mean, it's like you don't want to be eating chalk. It was spelled slightly different. I don't remember what it was, but it was just
with a Z, chalk.
Yeah.
Did you get like a lifetime supply of Flintstone vitamins, or did you still have to buy them from the store like all of us?
We bought them from the store like every other person. Yeah.
So tell us about the gaming industry, and you just said you're retiring and should have maybe just retired, but do you feel in any way like as your political views have come to light that it would have your ability to continue to get work in the industry, or how is that?
Wow. Yeah. No, I left. I started my own game company with another former Bungie guy, another Halo guy named Jamie Griesmer. That we started that in 2014, I think. So, and it's still going. It's called Highwire Games, and that's still going. And he was a fellow. I mean, he graduated from North Park. I graduated from Wheaton College. We were very simpatico. If you know where North Park is, it's a Chicago, formerly Christian college.
Right.
Most of these colleges that started out Christian are sort of a little questionable at this point. But anyway. We agreed on a lot of things politically and spiritually and all the rest. So we had no problem. And we weren't affected really by the sort of wokeness that crept into the game industry and the entertainment industry in general. So some people think that my political views, which I never hid, both my political and spiritual life was pretty public, especially with my coworkers at Bungie. So it was not a surprise. And that's not the reason that I was fired from Bungie. I was fired for many other reasons.
We can get into that.
Was it during the layoffs or was it this transition from Bungie to 343? When was it that you left?
Well, see, I was the oldest guy at Bungie, which is why my handle was Marty the Elder. And I got that when I was 40. So that was pretty cool. Like I was a 40-year-old
nice.
and I was the elder. And I like that because now every one of these guys that I work with are older than that now. And now they understand the cruelty of that.
Right.
It feels like how I feel on this podcast as the 52-year-old.
Yeah, see?
What are you guys millennials?
So
What's happening
old.
here?
40 the younger. That's what I would be called.
Yes. But anyway, yeah, I forgot what the question was, but
When you
What was the
departed,
question?
when did you leave? And
yeah, so I
Bungie.
didn't, I left. Here's the thing. I was one of the sort of leaders of Bungie. I was on the board of directors. Once we got hired by or bought by Microsoft in 2000, I sort of was one of the folks sort of in leadership. I was a director, and I encouraged us to like get out of Microsoft as soon as possible. So once we finished Halo 1 in 2001, I was immediately saying, hey, we should go and get our independence back. And
Yeah.
this is really successful, and Microsoft is not really super friendly about sharing. So, so we started working, believe it or not, in 2002 or 3, we were actively working to get out of Microsoft. And we were successful in doing that. And I was part of the negotiations to get Bungie out of Microsoft, to get Bungie its own name back. So we basically traded the name of Bungie and our independence and said, but we'll keep working on Halo. So Halo 3, which was released in 2007, was actually part of that deal.
that was my favorite Halo, by the way. That was I got to level
a good
50.
Halo. I agree, and we got our independence for Halo 3. So we were actually an independent studio called Bungie Studios again, and so I was one of the co-founders of the new Bungie Studios, that started in 2007. So that lasted. And we finished our contract with Microsoft, which involved Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo Reach. And once we finished that, at the same time, we were also working on the new IP called Destiny.
A note on Destiny. I read that on the Destiny soundtrack, you worked with Paul McCartney. Is that?
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
that's correct.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
How is that?
Yeah.
I've got pictures and video to prove it too. So
So the first time you saw him, did you have chills? Like, how was that
I
experience?
did. I did. I'm of an age. I mean, maybe the 52-year-old can have a little sense of what it was like. But for my age, like, I was in 4th grade, I think, when I saw the Beatles on television, and immediately, not only did I think, okay, I want to be a musician, because that's how you get the girls.
Right.
Yes.
It's true. My husband plays the guitar. I 100% agree.
But I specifically was like, I want to be Paul McCartney. So the idea that I would eventually work with him was actually kind of, I've talked about it like Paul McCartney is one of those world-renowned figures that the Pope wants to have an audience with Paul McCartney. So,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this new one very well might. He's
absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, when I met Paul McCartney, he came for the meeting to see if he wanted to actually work on video games soundtracks. He walked in the room and it's like, here I am,
Nice.
you really are. You are here. And so, I got a chill. And at the end of the 2-hour meeting, he, stood up and gave me a hug. And I was just wow, this is the best first date.
That's awesome. I'm feeling excited for you now. Years
And then you
later.
never shower. I would never shower or wash my hands after that. I would just stay in a McCartney state.
It's good we're not in the same room.
Hey, Marty, Dan and I are musicians, and we've worked on multiple albums together, and I know how our interaction is when we're creating music. Give me a little bit of what did it feel like in the room? What was your approach in working with him and writing? Like, what instruments did you use? How was that? You followed his lead, or you gave him here's a riff I have, and like, tell us about that. That would be very interesting to me.
Okay, well,
Harmonica?
when I first met with him, I was giving him examples of, how we use, how we'll do looping music to help in interactive scores. And then he's like, oh yeah, I used to have a Brunel tape recorder and I did loops for Sgt. Pepper and Revolver. And I'm like, my mind is being blown. One of the first things he did was he sent me a bunch. He goes, oh, I got the old Brunel out of I shouldn't be using this accent, but every time
I like it. Great. I love it.
I think it's spot on.
You sound like him, actually.
Well, yeah, that's sad, actually, that I do that. But I almost been hurt. I can't prevent. My wife gets mad at me when I do it. She's like, you shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, well, my ears remember the sound of his voice. But anyway, so he actually sent me a bunch of loops that he was working with, because he was inspired by the idea of looping, which is different, of course, than what I was talking about. But it was great because we had all these cool new sounds that were made with the exact tape recorder that was used on Revolver and Sgt. Pepper. And it was just like, this is insane. But one of the things he said to me on the first meeting was that he had worked he was going to do a movie score. And about halfway through scoring it, the director came in and said, oh, by the way, here's this other guy who's a composer who I want you to work with. And Paul was like, he's telling me about this. And he's like, I could work with anybody. I could work with Bob Dylan. I could work with, Sting. You don't tell me who I work with. That was that kind of attitude. And I was like, okay, I'll remember that. And so at that moment, I showed him this concept I had for Music of the Spheres, which was the sort of prequel musical idea for Destiny. And he was very interested, and he talked about how it reminded him of his concept for Sgt. Pepper and how he showed it to the guy. I showed it to the guys on a napkin, and they said, yeah, cool. And anyway, I worked with him. He was sending me stuff, and my partner Mike and I at Bungie were taking his ideas and making them into things, right? So it was like Paul's ideas, making them into something that could be used, and we'd send it to him to see how he liked it. And then I was at Capitol Records, which is in Hollywood, where the Beatles recorded at one point. And Paul was doing an album there. He was mixing it, and he asked me to come down and meet. And so I was in the studio with Paul, showing him stuff we had done. And it was just the two of us. And I'm sitting at the piano showing him things. And he goes, yeah, this is cool. What about that Music of the Spheres thing? What are you going to do with that? Like, how can we work on that? And then I was like, I paused because I was thinking, what he said, does he want to collaborate? Like, what do I? And he goes, Marty, it's just the two of us here. You can say anything you want to me. And he gave me an example, which is we'd have to clean up. But you could see F you, Marty, and I could say F you, Paul. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I would never say
That's
that.
Awesome. Well, I'm trying to get a band together, Marty, called the Beatles, B-E-E.
See,
I don't know. Maybe you still have a connection with Paul. I don't know. Maybe you do. You can maybe see if you can make something work.
I can text him, believe it or not.
You guys text
our first single is going to be "Let It Be." B-E-E.
Very good.
No, you got it. So anyway, the thing is that I said, look, Paul, you were a great collaborator, obviously, with John Lennon, but you also are a great solo artist. I don't know which way you want to work. And he goes, oh no, take some of my melodies and some of your music and put it together. It becomes our music. That's what, and so I'm like, oh, fabulous. Where he wants to actually collaborate.
Wow.
So
that's
everything
amazing.
took off from that point. So it was great.
Like how did someone just go, oh, by the way, Paul McCartney's interested in working on Destiny? Like, why did he come in the first place?
It's actually, Travis, it's worse than that. The guy who got us from Hollywood, a guy named Lev Chapelsky, would get us, hooked up with different stars in Hollywood. Nathan Fillion and Robert Davi and a whole bunch of different people. And he called me after we finished Halo, and he goes, hey, we've been sitting around, we've been thinking, you should really work with Paul McCartney. And I'm like, okay, yeah,
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
How do you know that he's interested in this? He goes, oh, I don't know that. And I'm like, well, okay. So
that just seems so random.
See what you can do.
I said, so do you have a connection? He goes, no. And I'm like, oh, all right, whatever.
But you just should work with him. I don't know.
Yeah, like a couple months later, he says, hey, I got you a meeting with Paul McCartney. And I'm like, you're kidding me. So they figured out a way to reach out behind the scenes. And it turned out what had happened is Paul McCartney and Ringo were on stage presenting the new Beatles rock band. And there was such a huge, it was like the old days of the screaming fans. And Paul and Ringo are like, oh my gosh, what is this game audience that is like super interested? And so that actually apparently triggered Paul's interest in this other medium and to see what he could do with that. So,
so great.
Cool. That's amazing.
Awesome.
That makes my whole week. My stories to tell the older generation and my kids, because it's bridges a whole group, like a whole musical genre of the Beatles.
Marty, in the same sense, we are also super excited to have you here with us, by the way, because your music has been extremely influential in our lives. I mean, the Halo soundtrack is epic. The Halo soundtrack, for those of us who are gamers who grew up during the late 90s, early 2000s. It's the soundtrack of that time era in video games, basically. Oh, yeah. And I actually still play Halo. I'm one of the few. Halo Infinite is the one that's out now. And me and my brother Seth, we still play. We play ranked Halo. We're very competitive with Halo. And so we've stuck with it. But Halo 3 is the pinnacle. Halo 2 and Halo 3 were the best. Bungie was obviously better than what we got afterwards with 343. And so thank you for your contributions. I mean, it's amazing. We're going to play some clips for that. But I think that first, let's talk about some news for this week. Sure. The big news item this week, obviously, is the Marxist takeover of New York City, with Mandami winning. And what can only be described as a landslide. I mean, I guess it turned out that even if everybody else except for Cuomo had dropped out of the race, it would have been
closer, but he still would have won.
It would have been like 52-48 or something like that, even with everybody else dropping out. And it's like, what does that say? Well, first of all, I want to hear what you think, Marty, about this. And then second of all, like, is it real? And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about next too, is all of these Democratic strongholds that have eliminated voter ID from voting there, right? Like, what percentage of people that voted in this election, A, didn't vote more than once, and B, were actually allowed to vote in the election, and C, how is it possible that the citizens of New York can't sue since the city of New York can't prove that everybody that voted in the election legally voted in the election? So that's kind of a lot of questions. But Marty, I mean, what is going on in New York City?
I sort of doubt that there's any... whatever the percentage of funny business might be going on in the voting rolls, I think Mandami was going to win anyway. I think his time has come. He is a 32-year-old, never had a real job, silver spoon raised, Marxist, Islamist, anti-Semite. So that's my opinion of him. Mm-hmm. But apparently it's the perfect time because he's got the great smile and the promise of I'm going to make everything free, which somehow convinced these people in New York City of the insanity. They were convinced that this is going to happen. So they elected him and they deserve it. They deserve whatever happens with him. It's a shame because New York's it's like the unofficial capital of the United States, but it's a little bit like Paris. Like people who come from around the world and they visit New York City thinking they've visited America. It's like, no. It's like if you go to Paris, you really haven't been to France. You've been to Paris. It's a unique place. And most people in the United States, the vast majority of people in the United States are not New Yorkers. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. I don't understand how they could be fooled by this guy, but you know what? It's the same thing in California with people somehow being fooled by Gavin Newsom, who is literally the slimiest politician I've ever run into. And I ran into him in 2005 and I was in San Francisco and I saw him and I went home to my wife. I actually met him at this little shindig that was there. And he was, the mayor of San Francisco. And I really remember thinking I had to like wipe the grease off my hands after I shook hands with him. And I went home to my wife and I said, I just met the most, Hollywood perfect, politician villain, on the nose for like, being a Hollywood politician. Thank God he'll never get out of San Francisco. So that shows you my ability to predict the future. It's not all
You're
that
like inverse Kramer, right?
But unfortunately, I think we should take Gavin seriously, especially after seeing Mandami. He's got the smile. He's got
100%. And
he's got the look, and so does Gavin. And I don't think we should pretend like Gavin isn't a threat at the national level. I think Mandami is too extreme, which is unfortunate. He's
also not eligible.
It gives space for Gavin Newsom to actually come up on the national stage. So anyway.
Well, I think it's real telling if you look at the voter demographic information that came out from the election, that it's the younger generation of voters who voted for Mamdani, and the older people who have seen socialism and communism growing up. It's just it's history repeating itself over and over. Kids that grow up young and don't remember the Cold War or any of that stuff, they think it all sounds great, a free chicken in every pot. But then the older generation who knows better, it's ridiculous.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think that this also reflects the absolute failure of our education system. What happened to Civics 101? So when the older people like me say, come on, he's a communist socialist, you can't vote for a communist socialist, the younger people, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Those words have no meaning. So I think it's up to us to explain more why. Here's what happens when you think government can be in control and own the means of production. It suppresses prosperity, which means everything becomes more scarce
and expensive.
And you can't, things start to fall apart because people who own property, once the government says we don't like people who own property, means property goes, starts to deteriorate because there's no financial incentive to improve your property. And so I think we have to explain to the younger generation why this sort of government involvement is going to make things worse rather than just use labels.
Let's listen to their own words. These are young people being interviewed about what they think is going to happen in New York City after Mamdani. This is one particular one, and this is just the level of education that you have with your average voter. I mean, she looks like the average voter for Mamdani to me. Yep. So let's just listen to this short clip real quick.
Well, how are we going to pay for it?
How are we going to pay for it? With tax money, with tax dollars.
Okay, where the tax dollars come from?
Tax dollars are coming from all of the billionaires and wealthy people.
Well, they already pay, the top 1% already pays 50% of all taxes.
Yeah. Can you
IRS data reflects that the top 1% already pays 50% of all taxes. But I ask you, so if you tax the rich to oblivion, what happens when the rich leave the city? Who's to tax then?
They won't leave the city.
Why not? They've already done it in California.
In her mind, they just
won't.
In
New York State, we have Wall Street. They're not leaving.
They've got Wall Street, guys. They're not leaving. They can't leave physically.
She thinks Wall Street is an actual wall.
If they can't, then who are you going to tax when they leave?
We're just going to continue taxing people. But
the middle class, right?
Yes, actually, the middle class.
Oh, okay, so you explained it. So we're going to tax out of the middle class when the rich people leave after you tax out of them.
I think we should tax the out of everybody. Yes, I think the middle class should be taxed 50%.
This is just unbelievable.
Entitled, illogical, ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Those are the people that you're working with, though. I mean, they have no idea. They don't have any life experience to know, and they're not teaching this stuff in public schools anymore. In the 80s and the 90s, when I grew up in public schools, I remember my teachers talking about the dangers of socialism and the dangers of communism. And
absolutely,
I feel like now with all these Antifa teachers and all this other stuff, I don't know, is that a part of the curriculum to even discuss that? I have no idea what's being taught in the public schools right now.
I think they're not allowed to discuss that sort of stuff officially.
Why? It's like it doesn't make any sense. It's
racism.
And so these kids are growing up without any basis for understanding the economics of anything at all. Yeah. They don't understand economics at all.
Well, and they also, I pointed out in a tweet the other day that, like, look, if you're an American, you should know that we are a, constitutional republic, and we're not a multicultural democracy. Now, there's nothing wrong with, we can talk about what does multicultural mean, and we can talk about how democracy is a tool within the republic that we use. But foundationally, we're a constitutional republic, which is on purpose very different than a pure democracy.
Right.
And multicultural is not our strength. It's the unity of multiculturalism. So multiculturalism is all about tribalism, but United States means we're unifying behind something that we should at least discuss. What does it mean to be an American? And we can discuss that. But so I got all sorts of pushback. Like, now I'm a Nazi. Well, of course, I've been a Nazi for a while, according to a lot of people. But to say that we are a constitutional republic means I'm a Nazi. So
ridiculous.
That just shows people do not understand just the foundational history of who we are.
I'm reading a really kind of phenomenally interesting book that I didn't know much. And to Dan's point about the schools, it's called Debunking Howard Zinn. And if you know anything about Howard Zinn and what his influence, he wrote The People's History of America, which is essentially just it's the Communist Manifesto for the U.S. And this book goes through kind of point by point how he infiltrated public schools, how that book was disseminated in the 60s and the 80s and the 90s. It came out in 81. And how they pushed it into public schools, giving them away to teachers for free. And the entire book is everything we see now. It's all the oppressed class and the evil colonizers and all of this narrative that we see. And I think this younger generation has been taught by teachers who have been indoctrinated by this communist ideology, and I don't think it was passive. I think it was a proactive effort.
They've been playing the long game.
Crazy. Yeah.
We read Declarations of Independence and People's History of the United States in our AP history class. Actually,
oh wow,
we read both. So that's been going on for a while.
Well, you guys should know, and I'm old enough. I'm old enough to know this. That this goes way back. This goes back to the Communist Manifesto and Karl Marx and the progressive movement of the early 20th century, and of course the communist revolution, quote unquote, revolution in Russia. And C.S. Lewis predicted all of this. So did J.R.R. Tolkien. So I mean, I blame the boomers to a large extent, my generation, for swallowing this entire line, hook, line, and sinker back in the 50s or 60s, basically. And that's the people who became the professors in the colleges, and they pushed this stuff. And then the teachers who came out of that are teaching the kids and teaching the millennials. And I applaud you children of the generation that was teaching you, my generation, for somehow avoiding the trap of buying this stuff. But it's really a shame, because that's the situation we're in now, where it's an agenda driven thing.
Absolutely, yeah, it's a long game.
C.S. Lewis's Men Without Chests, and We Have Faces, and what's the other one? That Hideous Strength. I mean, you'll. It's like this has been happening, and he saw it creeping into the institutions back in the 40s and 50s. So,
yeah.
What were you going to say, Travis? You had something I think to say too.
Oh, it was a joke, and it doesn't work anymore. So that's okay.
Sorry, I killed his joke. Whoops.
The story of Travis's life. It was a joke.
It is the story of my life.
That's on his. That's going to be on his tombstone. It was a joke, and it doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't work anymore. Very specific moment for that joke.
Yeah. So we have this. Coming back to my point about the voting in New York City, I don't understand how any state or city has local elections that don't require voter ID. I don't understand how they can get into federal elections without requiring voter ID. If your state can't prove that the voters who are voting actually voted legally, then the results should be null and void, in my personal opinion. I don't understand why they're not. It doesn't make any sense to me why the burden of proof is on the reporting precincts to show that they provided actual valid results. They cannot do that. They can't do that in New York City. And you say maybe Mandami would have still won, and that's maybe true, but we have no idea. We literally have no idea because we can't even tell what percentage of people who voted would have presented an ID if they were asked to.
Or have one, yeah.
And the people who are the most excited about this seem to be the people who aren't typically the ones who can vote. They're the ones who are the progressives. They're the ones who are getting out on the streets and going out there and getting people to vote. Even in some cases, we found recently paying people to vote. And they have no business. And there's another story in the headlines right now that just came out today, which is the mayor of Coldwater, Kansas, Jose Caballos. He's not even a legal U.S. citizen. And he's the mayor. And I'm going to share this news clip real quick so we can discuss how the thing that never happens is continuing to happen.
Accused of election fraud. The charges come hours after he secured a second term in office. Attorney General Chris Kobach charged Mayor Jose Joe Ceballos with 6 felonies, 3 counts each of voting without being qualified and election perjury. Kobach claims Ceballos is lawfully living in the U.S. but is a citizen of Mexico, making him ineligible to vote. The AG alleges the mayor illegally cast ballots in the August 2024 primary and November 2022 and 2023 general elections.
That's crazy.
In large part, our system right now is...
So the thing that doesn't happen happens, and it happens all the time.
Right. Did you notice that there was this politically correct thing? So he's legally, living in the United States. What does that mean? We don't know what that means because the definition of legal residency has been so bastardized with the,
right.
With the what does it mean that he's legally in the United States? That what do they call it? There were so many ways of getting in the United States.
Undocumented immigrant versus illegal alien, and I believe that they're
asylum. He probably was asking for asylum, which covers all the sins. Like you can just like if you sign a document, if you say the right words in the right order, you can qualify legally as an asylum seeker. Really, this guy from Mexico who's a citizen, was it asylum? Well, how is he legally in the United States? It's
not just in the United States. He's the mayor of a town.
Well, then, yeah. But once you get
that's
in,
the weirdest part.
You can, you can BS your way through all sorts of things in our system.
Yeah. Seriously, if you look confident and you walk with purpose, you can kind of get into anywhere,
Exactly.
Including the mayor's office. Keep going past the stanchions, past the rope.
It's unbelievable. I don't understand it. I don't understand how we've gotten to a point where I have no faith that election. It's just like with these accidents that keep happening on the roads with all the FedEx trucks and UPS trucks or whatever, big semis that keep crashing with all these people with CDLs. It's like anybody who gets a CDL license from California or New York, I do not trust that is going to be a safe driver who should be on the roads with the rest of our people because they have eliminated all required documentation in order to obtain that CDL license. Like, I don't understand. It's an infringement upon all of our rights to safety, security, and peacefulness, right? Like, in order to allow these things to continue to happen, issuing CDLs is one thing, but simply allowing people to vote in elections. And I'm not just talking about national elections. I'm talking about local elections. You see what's happening in New York City. That is going to have national implications of what happens in New York City. And so I am in favor of some sort of baseline requirements for bookkeeping of any election of any significance at all in the United States. I think that only citizens of the United States should be voting in any elections in the United States, and I think that you should be able to prove it.
And included in the census.
Yeah, and they should be the only ones included in the census because we shouldn't be breaking up our house districts based upon illegal immigrants that are in our filling up different states and giving more votes to different states.
It's almost like it was a long-term plan that they had to bring the long game. There it is again. Yeah. So
I agree with you 100%, except for I think we need to be counting everybody, but that doesn't mean you should only citizens should vote and you should have to prove you're a citizen. That's easy. Well, I mean, it's an easy yes to that, right? And only citizens, I think, should be able to get, driver's licenses. And, unless you have, there can be some special, worker kind of visa things that allow you to participate in the society, but you shouldn't be voting. And when you're counted, we count and we say, here's in this district, this is how many citizens we have, and that's where we have a representative. But here's how many, non-citizens live in this district, and we need to account for that. We need to be aware of it. But we shouldn't be allowing, especially the Democrats who are trying to take advantage of this and rejiggering the congressional districts so they get more representation based on illegal or quote unquote, legal immigrant status. That shouldn't be part of our national congressional count.
Yeah, we need to know that they're
count them. That's
we need to know that they're there, but it shouldn't be affecting representation. And
yes.
How do you count your constituents too, right? If you represent somebody in the House of Representatives, are your constituents just the legal U.S. citizens who live in your district or not? The Democrats have begun calling everybody it's an Illinois man, right? That's what they say. Mm-hmm. Or it's a Chicago man. And it's like, but he's actually from Venezuela.
The Maryland father. Remember the Maryland
the Maryland father.
Oh, yeah.
And they talk about, there was just, I forget which representative it was, but she was visiting somebody being detained in an ICE facility, and she called her constituent, but she's not her constituent. The reason she's in an ICE facility is because she's in the United States illegally, right? So that's not a constituent just because they happen to be crashing on a couch in your district, right?
Your family.
And if any of this sounds draconian, it's not, because if you go to any other first world country in the world, I lived in Spain for a while. I could not vote in Spanish elections as a non-citizen, as a tourist there on a tourist visa. This is not being racist or tribalist or whatever you want to call it. Most first world countries have very strict voting laws, and especially and immigration laws in general. This is something that I heard Louis C.K. There's a famous quote from him on Rogan a few years ago where he said we shouldn't have borders and we shouldn't have any of this. And I thought, do you know how any of the other world works? Every other country in Europe, immigration laws used to be very strict. Now, of course, we see they're letting up on them a little bit, but you have to have some sort of order and system in your countries, or you don't have a country. This is kind of the baseline nation building rules, is having some sort of qualifications for voting.
So I was talking before about, what does it mean to be an American? And I know we can have a discussion about that, but I like to tell this, I'm just coming up with this, by the way, I did in the last few days. Because I was talking to another composer friend of mine who's upset about, that we're so mean to people about immigration. And I liken it to an orchestra. And if you have an orchestra and you need flute players, you welcome and say flute players are necessary. I know, because what's one of the instruments I play. Mm-hmm. But if you have 20 flute players, because you don't want to exclude anybody, you no longer have an orchestra, you have a flute ensemble. So at some point you say, really, we only need 2 flute players, and we're going to audition the 2 best flute players we can find, and then that's it. We don't need any more flute players. It's not that we want to be mean to flute players. It just means we're making an orchestra. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And so the other thing is like, if you're building an orchestra and you invite people to audition, you want musicians. And if you're not a musician, we'll say, well, what can you do? It's like, oh, well, you could be a music librarian. Okay. But if somebody comes in and says, I want to be in your orchestra, I demand to be in your orchestra, I'm not a musician, and oh, by the way, I hate music.
Yeah.
I want to stand there.
Yeah, you're not being mean.
I mean, it's a perfect analogy. I mean, that's analogy.
It's good.
Yeah. And speaking of orchestras, I'm going to play something real quick, and I want Marty to react to this, because this is good orchestration here. I wanted to get your opinion on this. I just had this up on my computer.
Okay.
Let's see how you like it.
How you like it.
How I like it.
I always have a hard time, by the way, figuring out how to share things.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Les Paul, yes, please.
How does it feel seeing that?
Yeah, I can't get enough. Let me just say. Actually, that I think was that in Ireland or was that in?
It said Danish. It said it was a Danish.
Was Danish. Yeah, I've seen that before, and I know the woman conductor, and unfortunately, her name just left my head, but she's really good, and I've worked with her before, and yeah, it's a thrill for me to see it performed live and remember how. Where I was when I first came up with the melody and how it slowly built to that point. So it's really kind of, it gives me chills and it's really great. Unfortunately, that little performance, very few people will know exactly what I'm talking about, but the pianist at the very beginning doesn't play it exactly right. And that always sort of bothers me. There's an inner harmony that's not exactly right. The rest of it was fine. But yeah. Yeah, I love all the different ways I've seen, the Halo theme re-performed. It's really kind of amazing.
And speaking of the Halo theme, we have the White House, Homeland Security, publishing memes now.
Yes.
And really upsetting the left. I mean, really upsetting the left. I mean, they're going crazy over this because for the very first time in their lives, they're experiencing somebody within sharing media or entertainment from a right-wing perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's the first time they've ever experienced that before, and they are really mad about it. But this is hilarious. Homeland Security, whoever's running these accounts, apparently is not affected by the government shutdown.
It's Kristi Noem. She's the one doing all of it. Yeah. She's over there.
Kristi Noem knows what Halo is.
She might.
Maybe she does. I would love that.
Yeah, I don't know if she does.
I have a feeling she does.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I took advantage of this right away. I retweeted this. I think I got 3 million views on my retweet. So
on 29 million views total.
Yeah, no, it's insane. The thing I'd like to clarify here is two things. Yes, this is tongue in cheek. It's funny.
Yeah.
Have a little sense of humor. This is, but some of my friends who are the OG Bungie guys took offense at this, and they're like, we shouldn't compare a parasitic zombie alien species with illegal immigration. And I agree with that. Well,
they're not but people from Halo aren't the ones doing it. I mean, it's ridiculous. So we have to sit as conservatives on the sidelines while every single production done actually explicitly demonizes people like us on Netflix and on HBO Max and on all these other things. And if somebody actually not officially, just as a funny little meme, posts something, people from Bungie and people from 343 are expected to come out and condemn it and all this other stuff. It's
not only did I not condemn it, I actually understand what they were saying, which is the flood doesn't refer to, human beings. It refers to that with open borders, there's been a flood of illegal aliens, and now that's being stopped. And that's all it means. It's not talking about individuals. It's talking about the concept of a flood being, prevented. So anyway, it's please get the stick out of your rear and stop. I have a term for these people. It's what is it? Panty bunchers, pearl clutching panty bunchers. So.
I love this one with the energy sword. Trump.
The energy sword.
I mean, it's great. The White House sometimes probably does go a little bit too far. I mean, these are supposed to be actual government accounts, right? I think they do go a little too far. But
it is very surreal that the White House is sharing a Halo meme for sure.
Yes, I agree. But I'm thrilled with it. It's I couldn't be more thrilled. It's hey, good timing. Way to go.
It's so fun to hear that music. Going back a minute, I haven't played Halo recently, but my senior year, I graduated in 2001, and I was one of the few girls in my high school that played a lot of Halo my senior year. Back Halo 1, when it was fun. I liked it when it was fun. Recently, my husband got the new, whatever the new version is, and I tried to play it. Yeah, it was too detailed, too much stuff. But the old Halo, playing King of the Hill on a Friday night with a big group of friends and
LAN parties, man.
Lamp Party. Oh, that just was my whole senior year of high school. And I've tried to go back and play. I'm just not as good. And my kids can just wallop me. It's not even fun. I'm like Jim Halpert in the corner running stuff, and trying to get out and bumping into the walls and like, mom. But man, there was a moment there where I could hold my own in Halo, and hearing that music, it really, I can't think of another cultural phenomenon from the last 20, 30 years that has had such an impact. I mean, it's like the Star Wars universe. It's huge. We had a Halo land at Disneyland.
Yeah, I think that, Halo really was kind of the Star Wars franchise of video games, at least for a period of time. Since it's left Bungie's development, it has lost its luster, just like with Disney taking over Star Wars, the same thing.
Right, now it's the Disney sequel trilogy.
Yeah. Now it's something completely different, right? Like that's what it is now. One other story I wanted to talk about real quick, which is crazy because I have personal stories about something similar like to this happening to me, but there's no video of the actual event happening, but there is a news report we can watch real quick about a girl.
This is terrifying.
This is also in Kansas. This is Kansas City, Missouri, but she was on a roller coaster and her seatbelt buckle came undone, I guess. I don't know if it was a buckle or if it was one of the pull down bars or not, but let's just watch this quick news clip and then we can talk about it. And I can share with you guys something that happened to me because it's pretty nuts, the similarities. All right, here we go.
Tonight, terrifying moments playing out close to 205 feet in the air after riders say a child's seatbelt became unlatched on the Mamba roller coaster in Kansas City, Missouri, captured in this photo.
The first drop halfway through the hill. I'm sorry, this is really emotional because this little girl, the scream that she screamed, I've never heard anything like that before in my entire life.
Cassie and Chris Evans say they were riding the Mamba at the Worlds of Fun theme park earlier this month when they heard the young girl's screams.
Then she said, my seatbelt came off. There was this big of a gap between her and the lap bar.
The Mamba, the park's tallest roller coaster, reaching speeds of 75 miles per hour. The two quickly clutching both the girl and her friend until the end of the 3-minute ride. Afterward, reporting the incident to a ride attendant. Tonight, a representative for Six Flags, the parent company.
Can you guys believe that?
Nightmare.
Terrifying.
That's nightmare fuel. Something similar happened to me. I was a kid. I was in Astroworld, Six Flags Astroworld, and I forget what the name of the roller coaster was, but it was one of the older roller coasters, one of the original roller coasters that opened in, I think it was the late 60s or early 70s when Astroworld opened, and it had a lap bar, right? And the fatal flaw, which I can't believe lasted the 25 years that it took before I got on the ride, was that it was a lap bar, but it wasn't a single lap bar. And they used to do this on roller coasters all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It was a double lap bar. So one lap bar for two people. So I'm there with my brother and my sister. And so there's three of us. And my brother and sister get on the ride together. And then I go by myself. And then they usher in another person next to me. Well, I'm 10 years old. This person is an XXXL type of person.
The physics, it's just easy to see.
The physics of this don't make any sense. So I sit down and I'm like, I don't want this person next to me in general. You know, I'm a little kid and I'm like getting squished anyway. Then we pull the lap bar down and I kid you not, it clicked one time. One time.
Whoa.
I mean, it was like, you grab the bar and it goes click and that's it. And I'm not exaggerating. There was a foot and a half of space between me and that lap bar. And this roller coaster didn't have inversions, but typically inversions anyway, you have negative G-forces pushing into the seat. So it's actually more dangerous on these roller coasters that are focusing on airtime and pushing you out of the seat.
Right.
And so that entire roller coaster ride, I kid you not, I was clutching onto this thing. I had my arms wrapped around it like this, hanging on for dear life.
Did the guy next to you put his hand over to
I
steady
think
you?
he did. I think he saw what was happening, and I think he had his hand on me as well. But legitimately, if I hadn't done anything, I would have fallen out and died.
Jeez.
And if it was an intense roller coaster, which it wasn't that intense, it wasn't like Fury 325 or the Velocicoaster or something like that. I would have died. I mean, that would have been it. But I'm like, how in the world does that type of a situation occur? First of all, this was a failure of a lap bar, but this wasn't just a failure of a lap bar. This was just like engineering 101. It doesn't matter if it's the 1960s or the 1990s. You know that this isn't a good idea, right? Like,
well, I can tell you this. Once again, showing my age, you guys should look up Chicago Riverview. It's called Riverview. Was probably one of the most famous amusement parks in the United States. They had the 3 fastest roller coasters in the world, the most dangerous. Every year in the news, it's like, 3 more people died at Riverview today. I mean, it was just only 3. I guess that's okay. But I went on. I just like you, Dan. I was on the Bob's. It was called the Bob's roller coaster, and there was just no safety bar. It was just a seat belt, a single seat belt for everyone in the.
Take your life in your hands.
Yes, and I was like 7, and my sister was 5 years older than me, and she was just a larger person. She was, she had already hit adulthood, and I was kind of small for my age. We had one seat belt between us, and for some reason, all the G-forces went to the left where I was sitting, and there was just an open thing. And my sister kept slamming against me, and I was like half out. I'm like, Mickey, stop. She was laughing, and I can't. And it was the most terrifying ride of my life. And, I'm not kidding. If you look up Riverview, you should find out the number of people who died at Riverview. And it was like just
I'm glad both of you survived it, because we wouldn't have Not the Bee, and we wouldn't have the amazing Halo music.
That's true.
The butterfly effect roller coaster stuff. It's terrifying.
I've got one more story, if you guys can believe it.
I don't even have any.
I'll make this one quick, because this one was horrible. This is worse than the first one. I was at Six Flags Fiesta Texas in San Antonio, and they used to have a hybrid bobsled roller coaster there. And I don't know if you guys know those roller coasters or not, but they click you up the hill and then they kind of let you go, and it looks like a bobsled, and then you get back on a track at the end and they click you up another hill or whatever. And we were waiting in line, my brother and I and our uncle Bob. Was it Bob or James that was with us? I forget. Anyway, it was one of my uncles. And we were waiting in line. We were the next in line to get on the ride. And the roller coaster, which is a pretty standard roller coaster, car comes in. The people in front of us, they open up all the lap bars, the people get in, and then as they are closing the lap bars, they used to do this, and this was the incident that made them not do this anymore. They used to come and put their hands on each bar and check each bar walking by as they went. The girl that was doing this in the row in front of me grabbed the bar and started to pull on it, and the person launched the vehicle too soon. And her hand was still grabbing onto the bar. And when she pulled on the bar, the vehicle left and she fell on the track.
Oh.
The next car came into the bay and ran her over up to her stomach before they were able to stop it, directly in front of me. In front of me. I saw it happen. I was the next person in line.
How did you go to amusement parks after any of this? Like,
to be honest, what happened to her? What happened? I've tried to look it up since, because I was a kid at the time. I mean, I was very young. I think I was 8 or 9 when this happened. And so at the time I wasn't like we didn't follow up on the local news in San Antonio. We weren't from San Antonio. I've tried to look it up. The ride shut down due to an incident, and it was due to an incident where somebody got paralyzed. And I believe that she was just simply paralyzed from the legs down.
Jeez.
And so I saw this happen in front of me. And so you're right. I mean, somebody died just recently at Epic Universe in Universal, which is a theme park not very far from our house here in Florida. So it still happens. People are still dying on these things. They're not.
Why do you keep riding roller coasters?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. What?
It's the thrill of the roller. They're still a lot of fun. I guess.
Travis, have you had it? I have not had any traumatizing. I love amusement. I just got back from Disneyland. Nobody died while I was at Disneyland, but I haven't
personally. But my wife did. There was a roller coaster at Knott's Berry Farm called Boomerang, and it's not there anymore. But she almost fell out of the seat, and it was just a looping roller coaster.
Your wife almost fell out?
Yeah, and then it went backwards because I think she was too short for the ride, but they let her on anyway. And so nothing failed on the ride. It was negligence, but she started to slip. They have the things that go over your shoulder, and she started to slip through it because, she was too small. And she had to hold on. That was the only way to get through it. Luckily, it was a very short ride. It's not.
Well, hey, I just was in Japan and I ate puffer fish. So.
Oh, and you lived.
I lived.
Wow.
Where'd you go? Things where you're there and you realize, oh, they serve millions of these every year and nobody dies. So it's like, okay, whatever South Park episode or somebody's episode, has exaggerated it. So apparently it can happen, but it never does. So
was it good?
Yeah, it actually was. Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. My friend ate it as a sashimi, so he ate it raw. And I videoed him saying, okay, this is just before we went to the hospital. Here's Jim eating puffer.
Are they toxic? I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, if you cut the wrong spot, right?
Yeah, well,
it was a Simpsons episode.
If they prepare it the wrong way, it's like almost instant death. So it's one of those, they know how to prepare it now in Japan. And I had it, I think it was fried in some way. So it was really good. But if frying it doesn't help, is you still can die. So
yeah,
but I just didn't feel like eating it raw. So
it's good for you.
I don't know why.
All right, so transitioning from things that are terrifying to look at to things that are not terrifying to look at. I'm going to show a clip of Sydney Sweeney.
Wait, which clip are you going to show?
This one is not the clip that you think. This is Sydney Sweeney in as subtle a way as possible telling you that she is, I guess, MAGA. I don't know. You guys decide. She was asked about what it was like when President Trump shared her jeans ad. And this is her response, which is I think it's very telling. Let's just watch.
I mean, the president tweeted about the jeans ad, or Truth Socialed about the jeans ad. And that just seems to me like a very crazy moment for anyone. And I wondered what that was like.
It was surreal.
It was surreal.
That was a smile.
There's a little smile there. You can see her eyes light up. I think, look, this is her look.
Man, she's MAGA.
She's MAGA.
That's it. You can tell. That's it.
She looks
admitted
high.
it.
I don't know if I could pull her out of pick her out of a lineup. What have I seen her in? Like, she's everywhere, but I don't think I've seen.
You're too old, Robin.
I'm not too old.
Robin the Elder.
I am not the Elder. Just don't watch Sydney's. She was in a Marvel movie, wasn't she? A bad one?
Yeah, she was in Madam Web, which was awful. Oh man, it was so bad.
I didn't see that.
Oh.
All right, so now it's time for our blue-haired breakdowns. This isn't really a breakdown. It's not like a freak out, but this is a new thing. This is a liberal talking about dang it, she doesn't have blue hair, but she does have half-shaved hair, so that counts, I guess. Talking about fat privilege for people who aren't quite as fat as other people. Let's watch this real quick.
This is crazy.
Okay.
I have a question. Can you tell me what category of fat I fit in? So it's based on your shirt size. So if you are a 1 or 2X, you are small fat. 3 to 4X, you are mid fat. 5 to 6X, you are super fat. Is based on what level of privilege you have in the world.
So the guy that sat next to me on the roller coaster was mid fat, I would say.
Oh, okay.
So someone in a small fat category may not struggle getting on an airplane, but someone in a mid fat or super fat may not be able to use even the airplane extender. So that's where that comes in, and like the privilege levels of like what fat means to different people.
OMG.
Okay. Why do we have philosophy about fatness? Why is that a thing?
Because everything is seen through. This is the new
privilege.
Privilege is the new class, right? Like if you're more privileged or less privileged, it depends on. It's your hierarchy in society. And
I just imagine Socrates, like with people gathered around him, talking about like, you are mid-fat, and this is what this means. It's like, what are you talking about?
Can I identify as someone who's mega fat and claim victimhood now? Is that
mega fat? That's a new one. I like it.
Mega, or whatever she called, whatever.
Well, there's a famous video that went viral. I don't know, a year ago about somebody infiltrating a fat meetup or whatever, and it was a skinny person, but they identified as fat.
A guy,
yeah, and so they were not having it. It's like they draw lines when they're physically obvious enough, except when it's men dressing up as women, I guess.
Well, they're curvy lines.
The curvy
lines. The lines are straighter with this one rather than.
Right.
So I have a question. I'm going to open it up to everybody. So this is typically the point in the show where we kind of ask personal questions, and Mr. B, I'll let you do yours too. But I asked a question on our social platform that we run on our websites on Not the B. What is the greatest song? And I don't want you guys to think about this too much, but I just want you guys to blurt these out because I want to see what you guys think as well. And I got a song that I think we settled on as the greatest. What is the one song? And I'm not talking about like Happy Birthday. I'm talking about like actual recorded song that you guys think is the most broad in its reach and impact across all demographics. And I'm not just talking about like, suburban white people. This includes all demographics in the entire world of all time. What do you guys think is the number one song? Just think for a second about it. The one that initially came to my mind, I don't like the song at all, but I'm just thinking about it from its impact and how often it's played on repeat across multiple cultures would be like.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Imagine by John Lennon.
Yep.
Oh, see, I was going to say the Numa Numa song.
The Numa Numa song.
Travis knows what I'm talking about.
That's the one that goes Numa Numa Numa.
Yeah. No, the what's it's called, the Numa Numa. He was like a Swedish guy.
Oh, yeah.
That one. That's what I was going to say.
Or Blue by Eiffel 65. I'm blue, a dabba dee dabba die.
That's the earworms.
All right, so I'll start with Mr. B because he's always asking the questions. Mr. B, you're up first. This is a knee-jerk reaction. I have several that I think are qualified, so let's see if you can hit one of them.
I would say Sweet Caroline.
Oh.
Yeah.
Everyone sings it.
Well, everybody in Boston sings it.
I know that song.
We all know. We all know it. But do you think that your average 15-year-old knows that song?
I think when it's played at a wedding, everyone knows it and everyone gets into it and everyone sings it.
Mm-hmm.
At a wedding, they want to hear big butts is what they want to hear.
No.
And they
all right, Robin, what's your pick?
I already said mine. It's the Numa Numa song. That
is your pick?
No, when you asked this question, I went personal. So I and this is not a good answer now because I'm thinking about that. I was going to say All Along the Watchtower by Bob Dylan, performed by Jimi Hendrix, but that's definitely doesn't fit.
That's definitely like for a specific demographic,
right? It's not. I don't know, modern, current, just a Katy Perry song. I don't know. Cultural.
It doesn't have
relevant?
to be modern or current. I mean, it's got to talk to 80-year-olds and it's got to talk to 5-year-olds. So like,
Take the A Train.
Okay. All right, Travis, what do you got? What's yours?
The Halo theme.
Oh, set it up for him.
Wow. All right. Drop the mic.
Yeah.
Do you have a real one, Travis?
That's the Gamers National Anthem. So come on.
I think it's fair. No, I don't really have I was going to say Imagine and you said that.
Okay.
I think you're right about that.
I'll let that be yours because it's not mine. I'll let it be yours.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Marty. What do you?
All right. Well, I'm going to do the antithesis to Imagine, but it's still a Beatles song, and I think it should be, even if it's not something that's in everybody's head. But it's Yesterday by Paul McCartney.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a wonderful song, and it's been redone a million times, and it's just in its construction and its simplicity and its complexity and in all those ways, it's just a great song.
I think
you have a Paul McCartney bias.
I do. No doubt about it.
I think that Yesterday definitely works. You know what's interesting about this? I looked into it. Yesterday is not the number one streamed song by the Beatles. I think it's like number 4. But number 1, can anybody guess what the number 1 without looking streamed song by the Beatles? Now, this doesn't necessarily mean it's the most successful Beatles song of all time because streaming only started I think
it's a George Harrison song. It's either Here Comes the Sun or something.
I was going to say Twist and Shout.
It's Here Comes the Sun.
Oh, it's Here Comes the Sun.
Nice work, Marty.
That was great. Yeah, and it's like you have all these amazing McCartney Lennon songs, and then the one that actually is spoken apparently to the most people is Here Comes the Sun, which I don't necessarily think that is their most famous song or their most re-recorded song or anything like that.
Marty, what is Paul McCartney's favorite Beatles song in his voice? Go.
Well, yeah, I have to say, yesterday came to me when I was sleeping, and I dreamed it. I didn't even think it was me, but yeah, I guess yesterday is the one.
I guess it's the one.
Awesome.
So the other ones that I got a lot of in my responses were "Don't Stop Believing,"
Sure.
and then the one that I thought was like, "Wow, maybe that is the one." I don't know. Is "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" by Judy Garland.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, that's ubiquitous.
For a certain demographic.
What demographic? My kids love it. 95-year-old women love it. I mean, who doesn't love it?
I'm married.
Okay, Mr. B, if you want to do one round of questions, and then we'll wrap it up like usual.
Okay, Marty, this is for you.
Okay.
What is the most rebellious thing you did as a teenager? Okay. And if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Don't go up to a policeman who's standing in front of a group of students and they're thinking about arresting an entire group. Don't go up from behind and tap them on the shoulder and say, "What's the problem here, officer?"
Ooh, that sounds like good advice. That is very good life advice. And on that note, I think that we are going to call it for the week. I really appreciate it. We don't need a follow-up, Marty. We'll assume that nothing too bad happened.
Nothing. Oh, I did get. I was put in the cop car and taken to the police station, and I was arrested for failure to disperse. But I was all by myself, so it seems weird. Was I supposed to blow up? So anyway, I was very cocky. It was not a good.
How old were you?
18.
Oh, you were 18.
Yeah.
Can an individual person disperse? Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's what I was questioning. It was a legit question. But I just want to be able to say martyforcongress.com. That's where you need to go. And all the support possible will help me flip this congressional seat from Democrat to Republican. And that's what everybody wants, right? So let's go.
Yep,
Remind us what it is again.
It's martyforcongress.com. Or either one works.
We'll put that in the description below if anybody wants to click directly. So thank you for joining us, Marty. I appreciate it. Thank you for all of you joining us for this week of Beyond Parody. We really appreciate it. We will see you next week.